welcome to today's webinar video all about Backoffice 2.0. My name is Catherine. I'm a member of the support team here at Citrus Lime, and today I'm going to be telling you all about the new and improved Backoffice 2.0. This video will aim to introduce you to Backoffice 2.0 generally. We'll take a tour of some of the key areas in the back office, and we're going to highlight some new tools and features that we've introduced that we think you're really going to like. But before we start looking at different areas in the back office, there are a few points which should be useful for you to know. Backoffice 2.0 is not just a new look. We have totally refactored all of the code underneath with modern technology to create a faster, more robust and more powerful platform than Backoffice 1.0. Everything that you do in terms of processes in 1.0 will translate into 2.0. You don't need to reinvent the wheel to use 2.0. But you may actually find that your existing day-to-day processes are faster and easier than they have been before. You should find that you need fewer clicks, that there are more quality of life tools to make your day-to-day processes easier, and you should find that it's more efficient. For example, purchase orders are reported to be 70% faster in 2.0 than they were in 1.0. If you're watching this video as a current Backoffice 1.0 user, you may have questions about how that will work. You'll be glad to hear that Backoffice 1.0 is able to run concurrently alongside Backoffice 2.0. So during the transition period, you can choose which version you'd like to use without any risk. We'll be aiming to wind down version 1.0 at the end of August 2025. This is a tentative date. We may well keep it running longer than that, and we won't be shutting it down before that. But we'd still definitely recommend getting to grips with the new version of the software as soon as you can. And we actually think that you'll prefer it to 1.0 for several reasons. So without any further ado, let's dive into some of the new features. So let's start with the dashboard. If I open up the side menu over here, you should find that you have all of the same options that you had before, but we've just changed the layout a bit and grouped the options in a way that makes a bit more sense. However, if you're looking for an option that you would usually find and you can't figure out where it is, you can just click in this search menu here and type it in. Let's say I want anything with items. That will bring up all the results in this side menu that have whatever you typed in. So that can help you find pages much more quickly. And if it's something that you're going to be using all the time, for example, if you spend a lot of time on the items grid, just hover the mouse over it to get this little star on the right-hand side. You can click that star to add this to your side menu favorites. So if I clear my search, I've got this favorites section at the top, and you can put in all the favorite options that you want to use all the time just here. The side menu can also be pinned to keep it open all the time, or if you're working on a smaller screen, you can also unpin it so that it just opens when you want it to. If I move to the items grid now, got quite a few new features in here. For example, we've got these two toggles at the top for show global stock. So this will show the available stock across all of the different stores within your group, like so. Or you can turn that off and choose to have in stock only, which is referring to the stock that's in your local store for the login that you're using on Backoffice. You have the usual wildcard search at the top.
You can search using the column headers as you would expect. You also have the option for quick search. So if I hold down Alt on the keyboard and then press S, that opens up the item quick search, and this can be accessed from all pages in the back office, not just this items grid. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are in the back office, you can use Alt and S to bring up this item quick search, and then you can either scan the barcode or type in the item lookup code, and that will take you directly to that item. You'll also find that the item grid and lots of the other grids in backoffice 2.0 now have an option where you can manage the view, so you can change the layout and the look of it by using this button here. And that gives you the options of the columns that you can see, so you can untick any that you don't want to see to remove that column from the grid, and tick any that you want to add. And you can also drag and drop those columns to move them around within the grid to wherever you'd like them to be. So if I want brand to be further to the left, I can drop it there. And then once you're happy with the layout, you can save it to come back to another time using this grid layout option over here. So it's looking at the current layout that I've got. I can give that a name. Click add. If you want this to be the default layout whenever you log into the back office with your cashier or user login, just by clicking on the star here, it will automatically show me the items grid with that layout. You can also delete a layout if you change your mind. You can also change the size of the columns in this grid. So for example, if I wanted to make the description column larger, I can just hover between these two bars, get this double-headed arrow, and make it larger or smaller. Some columns will have a minimum size and a maximum size, but this should give you more freedom to see the items grid how you want to see it. And these options are available on many grids, including customer orders, purchase orders, and so on. When it comes to creating a new item, you'll notice that it feels and looks just a lot nicer. It's a lot more compact. You can see it all on the one screen. And we've also got a new page within the items section in the menu for matrix templates. So instead of having to do your matrix templates on a small pop-out on the item creation screen, you can set them up separately within this matrix templates page, and they're a lot easier to manage and set up. If I find a standard item now, I go into the items grid. Let's go with this one at the top here. You'll see that the item card looks much nicer. It's much clearer to see. All of the same information is still there. You've got your key item information at the top here, sale pricing. If I scroll down, you have inventory details and things like that. If you've made changes to an item, so let's say I want to put this price to £150.99 instead, rather than having to scroll all the way down or all the way back up to save any changes. Down in the bottom right here, we've got this Save Pending Change button. You can check what that change was using this blue button. So I changed the price. You can reset it if you change your mind, or you can just click this Save Pending Change, which will stay there no matter where I am on the screen. If I go back to items and find a matrix parent now, let's go for the parent of that jacket. It's much simpler, much nicer to look at. All of your child items and their information are in this child items tab over here. And you've got your matrix dimensions at the top. And you can also do some bulk editing from right here on the parent page. So this is a bit like a mini wizard where you can set a formula to edit the prices for all of the children. You could set the eBay price, the sale price, and so on. And then if I quickly go back to the item search, you can see we've got a search sim button over here. You're able to search sim in everywhere you would usually search for sim. So from the items grid, when you're on a purchase order and you're adding items, you can search sim from there. We've got the usual sim basket under a separate sim category here. We've got the sim basket. And then we've also got a completely new feature, which is the search sim catalog page. This allows you to search your entire sim catalog for all of your sim suppliers. So where the sim basket will let you look at one supplier at a time to import items, you can search for any item in here. Keep it nice and basic. Let's go with a helmet. And that will show you any items containing the word helmet from all of the suppliers that you have a sim license for. A couple of the features that we've added to customers and customer orders include requests that have been on the feedback forum. For example, you now have the option, if I open a customer record, to clear a customer's details completely, so completely anonymize that record just by using this red button over here and then saving those changes. You'll also find that we've made customer orders much faster and snappier to load. You've got the option for grid layouts and managing the view here as well. And when it comes to opening orders in POS from the back office, it should be very easy to do because you no longer have to sign in to POS separately from back office. Another new feature that we've added under customer orders is the order statuses. You may remember when you create a special order in POS, you had the option to add whether it was on hold or awaiting parts, for example. You'll still have those options in as default, but you also have the option to create an entirely new order status. You can color code it and give it an icon, and that will show up in the workshop module for workshop jobs. It will show up in the pick list, for example. We're only using a couple of them now, but they'll have a whole order status columns with the different statuses and their color coding. A couple of changes that we've added to POS as well to do with orders is in my handy POS tab. If you set the customer on a transaction, if that customer has any open orders, you can see it will flash up here just under their name. You can click on that to find whichever order you want to use and recall that straight away. And then you can see that color coding of the order status again. If you're going to sell a serialized item to a customer, this is another feature that was requested on the feedback forum. When you are prompted to put in the serial numbers for that item, you also have an option to create a serviced item here so that you can send out service reminders so that when it comes to booking in a service or a workshop job, you've already got that item. And on the page that should be quite familiar is the wizards and imports section. You've got all the same capabilities in there. They've just been arranged in a bit of a nicer, more sensible way. So you can choose from item wizards. So we've got the price wizard, item detail, and item type wizard. All the wizards to do with suppliers, store wizards, and so on. And again, with the import tools. Much clearer, much easier to look at and find whatever you're looking for. And they're also a lot more powerful underneath than they used to be. We've put quite a bit of work into our purchase orders and transfers. The first feature that I want to show you is this search bar at the top here. This will allow you to search all of your open purchase orders by the item lookup code, item description, supplier part code, or alias barcode to see whether the item that you're looking at is already on a purchase order that's waiting to be received. We've also got this bar on the goods in page as well. If I create a purchase order, rather than being that one very long page, it's much more user-friendly and just looks and feels a lot nicer. You have all of the same auto creation methods, so as well as just setting up a blank one, you have inventory-based, customer-specific, sales-based, and then the option to import a purchase order from a CSV file. However, when you use the customer-specific option, this no longer creates one purchase order for all suppliers, but only the suppliers that you choose. If I quickly create a blank one, selecting your store and your supplier. This side panel over here will just help you keep track of the different stages of creating the purchase order. You just use this button here to create one. You can scan or type search as usual. If you search and select items, you have the option to select all the items that you search for. So if I say saddle, I can select both of those at once to add them to the purchase order. And that's added those lines. If I want to change the quantity, let's say I want 3 of those, it will very quickly auto-save that change. If I have 4 of those, it's almost too quick to see, let's auto-save them. You don't have to hit save changes all the time. You also have the option to combine the different types of purchase order. So at the start I pointed out the inventory-based, sales-based, customer orders, etc. You can start a purchase order as one of those types, and then under actions, you can add items from recommendations, or you can choose from those criteria again to get a combined purchase order for your inventory and your customer orders, and then you could add sales-based as well. You also have the option to apply a discount to a purchase order, just here. If your supplier decided to give you a good deal, you can either add a percentage discount, which is applied to the cost of every single line, or if it's a fixed total amount, it will be evenly distributed across all of your line costs. So we've got several little tweaks that are just a bit more user-friendly and just allow you to do a few more exciting things with your purchase orders and your transfers. And finally, if I go back to my side menu, under Setup, we have the taskpad page. If you use the taskpad a lot, you might now be happy to know that you can add custom colors to the buttons on the taskpad. So if I decide that I want to make cakes blue instead of this dark pink, I can choose from any color in the spectrum. And you can also choose a display order for those buttons. So if I decide that I want Victoria Sponge to be the last button that shows for cakes, I'll change that to 6th, just fit right at the end. So on my task pad, in the point of sale, I now have cakes in this dark blue, and I've put Victoria Sponge at the end.
So those are all the features that I wanted to highlight in this video. I hope you find them useful. If you have any questions or you need a hand with finding your way around BackOffice 2.0, please don't hesitate to get in touch with the support team and we'll be very happy to get you sorted. As ever, if you have any feature suggestions, please do raise them on our feedback forum. We aren't resting on our laurels. We'll continue to tweak and improve the platform to make it the very best that it can be for our retailers. Thank you so much for watching.